The morning started like any other Tuesday on Earth until the sky turned dark at noon. Jake Morrison was drinking his third cup of coffee in the Pentagon when the first reports came in. Giant ships were appearing over every major city on the planet. Not just one or two ships, but massive vessels that blocked out the sun and made the ground shake when they moved. Jake dropped his coffee mug and ran to the main command center. Screens everywhere showed the same impossible sight. Over Washington, a ship the size of Manhattan floated in the air like it weighed nothing. Similar ships hovered over London, Moscow, Tokyo, and 43 other cities around the world. Each ship was dark gray with strange symbols glowing blue along its sides. President Helen Carter arrived at the Pentagon 20 minutes later. She looked calm, but Jake could see her hands shaking slightly as she walked into the Situation Room. General Pete Rodriguez was already there with his team, trying to figure out what they were dealing with. "What do we know so far?" Helen asked as she took her seat at the head of the table. 47 ships total, Pete said, pointing at the main screen. They appeared at exactly the same time everywhere. No weapons fired yet, but our satellites show each ship has enough power to level a continent. We tried to make contact but got no response. Dr. Lisa Wang, the science advisor, looked up from her tablet. "The technology is beyond anything we have seen before. These ships are not using any form of propulsion, we understand. They are just floating there, defying gravity like it means nothing to them." That was when every screen in the room changed. Every television, every computer, every phone on Earth showed the same image. A tall creature that looked like it was made of living crystal stood in what appeared to be a command center. Its voice spoke in perfect English, but somehow everyone on Earth heard it in their own language at the same time. "Primitive species of the third planet," the creature said. Its voice was cold and carried no emotion. "I am Zethkar, Prime Counselor of the Galactic Federation. You have been observed for some time and we have found you lacking. Your species shows too much violence, too little control, and poses a threat to the peace of the galaxy." Jake felt his blood run cold as the alien continued speaking. "You have 72 of your planetary rotations to make a choice. Surrender your weapons, your governments, and your freedom to Federation control. Accept your role as workers in our empire, and your species will survive. Refuse, and we will remove the threat you represent to civilized space. This is not a negotiation. This is an ultimatum." The screens went back to normal, but nobody in the Situation Room moved for a long moment. The weight of what they had just heard settled on everyone like a heavy blanket. Extinction or slavery. Those were the only choices the aliens had given them. 72 hours, Helen said quietly, looking around the table at her advisors. "They want us to surrender our entire species in 3 days. "Ma'am, we need to consider all options," Pete said. "Their technology is far beyond ours. Each of those ships could destroy whole cities. If we fight, millions will die." Lisa pulled up more data on her tablet. "The energy readings from their ships suggest they could destroy our entire civilization without breaking a sweat. Maybe we should consider their terms." Jake found himself getting angry. "Consider their terms? They want to turn every human being into a slave. They want to end our freedom, our culture, everything that makes us who we are. But if the alternative is death," Pete started to say. That was when Helen started laughing. Not the crazy laughter of someone who had lost their mind, but the genuine laughter of someone who had just heard something funny. The sound was so unexpected that everyone stared at her. "I'm sorry," she said, wiping tears from her eyes. "It's just so ridiculous. These aliens show up after watching us for who knows how long, and they think we are going to roll over and give up everything because they have bigger ships." Jake found himself smiling. "When you put it that way, it does sound pretty stupid." "They call us violent and uncontrolled," Helen continued, her laughter becoming more confident. "Have they looked at our history? Every time someone has tried to conquer us or control us, what have we done? We have fought back," Pete said, beginning to understand. "We have adapted," Lisa added. "We have survived," Jake finished. Helen stood up and walked to the main screen showing the alien ship over Washington. "These Federation aliens think they know us because they have watched our wars and conflicts. What they do not understand is that every war we have fought, every challenge we have faced has made us stronger and smarter." She turned back to face the room. "They expect us to be afraid. They expect us to surrender or die fighting like every other species they have conquered. But they are making one big mistake." "What mistake is that, ma'am?" Jake asked. Helen smiled, and for the first time since the ships appeared, Jake felt hopeful. "They think like conquerors. They follow rules and patterns that have worked for them for thousands of years. But humans do not follow patterns. We break rules. We find new ways to solve problems that nobody else has thought of. Pete was already pulling up military files on his computer. What are your orders, ma'am? Get me every scientist, every engineer, every creative thinker we have, Helen said. Contact our allies around the world. Tell them that humanity is not surrendering today, tomorrow, or ever. We have 72 hours to show these aliens what humans do when someone tries to take our freedom away. Jake felt energy returning to the room. People started moving with purpose again. Phone calls were made. Plans began forming. The impossible situation was becoming just another problem to solve. One more thing, Helen said as people began to leave. I want a message sent to every human on Earth. Tell them what we are facing. Tell them the choice we have been given. And tell them that their government believes in them. We are not going to surrender, and we are going to need every person on this planet to help us figure out how to win. As Jake walked out of the situation room, he realized something important. The aliens had made their first mistake by giving humans time to prepare. Their second mistake was underestimating what humans could do when they were backed into a corner. Their third mistake was assuming that superior technology always wins wars. History was full of examples of smaller forces beating larger ones through creativity, determination, and the refusal to give up. The aliens were about to learn what humans meant when they said freedom was worth fighting for. The world did not panic the way the aliens expected. Within hours of President Carter's message, something amazing started happening across Earth. Instead of running and hiding, people began working together in ways that surprised even the human leaders. Captain Alex Turner was in his quarters on the experimental warship USS Defiance when Admiral Morrison called him. The ship was docked at the secret Luna base on the far side of the moon. Hidden from the alien vessels watching Earth, Alex, I need you ready for launch in 6 hours, Jake's voice came through the secure communication line. Take your ship and 2 others. I want you to fly close to their perimeter vessels. Do not fire unless they fire first. But I want them to see that we are not hiding in our cities like scared children. Alex smiled as he looked out at Earth through the observation window. Even from the moon, he could see the lights of cities still shining bright under the alien ships. Understood, sir. What about rules of engagement? Show them we are not afraid, but do not start a war we cannot finish, Jake replied. Let them know that humans do not surrender easily. Meanwhile, in Silicon Valley, tech genius Ryan Brooks was meeting with his best engineers in a conference room 50 feet underground. The room was filled with holographic displays showing designs that looked like they came from science fiction movies. The aliens want to see our technology, Ryan said with a grin. Let's give them something to think about. Sarah, how is Project Mirror coming along? Dr. Sarah Mitchell pulled up a 3D model of what looked like a normal communications satellite. The outer shell is completely standard Earth technology. But inside we have reverse-engineered alien tech from the Roswell incident and 12 other crashes over the past 70 years. The government has been sharing everything with us since the ultimatum arrived. Good, Ryan nodded. Deploy 50 of them in the next 24 hours. I want the aliens to think they are watching our primitive communication network, while we are actually mapping their shield frequencies and weapon signatures. Across the country in Nevada, Dr. Maria Santos was working in a laboratory that officially did not exist. She had spent her entire career studying alien technology recovered from various incidents. Now all her research was finally going to be useful. The Federation ships are broadcasting on predictable frequencies, she explained to her team of scientists. Their communication system is advanced, but it follows patterns that make sense. They never considered that a primitive species might be smart enough to decode their tactical data. Her assistant, Dr. Kevin Clark, looked worried. Are you saying they are not trying to hide their military information from us? Exactly, Maria said. They are so confident in their superiority that they do not think we could understand their technology even if we had access to it. That arrogance is going to be their downfall. In Geneva, UN Secretary-General Chris Hansen was coordinating with world leaders through secure video links. The conference room looked like a war room from a movie, with screens showing military positions and alien ship locations around the globe. The Federation has made their demands based on their understanding of human history, Chris announced to the assembled leaders. They see our wars, our conflicts, our apparent divisions, and they think they know what we are. But they have missed something important. The president of Russia, Viktor Petrov, leaned forward on his screen. What have they missed? They have missed the fact that humans fight each other because we care about ideas like freedom, justice, and the right to choose our own path, Chris replied. When an outside force threatens all of those things, we stop fighting each other and start working together. The Prime Minister of Japan, Hiroshi Tanaka, nodded in agreement. Our scientists are already sharing research that has been classified for decades. Our military forces are coordinating in ways that would have been impossible yesterday. That evening, something unexpected happened in the Nevada desert. A small alien spacecraft, different from the Federation vessels, landed near Area 51. The ship was sleek and silver, with markings that human computers did not recognize. The pilot who stepped out was reptilian, about 7 feet tall with intelligent green eyes. He spoke through a translation device that converted his words into English. I am Commander Yixtal of the Korthax Republic, the alien said to the military team that surrounded him. I come with a message for the leaders of Earth. Within 2 hours, Yixtal was sitting in a secure conference room with President Carter, Admiral Morrison, and the top military leaders. His message was both encouraging and terrifying. The Galactic Federation has given this same ultimatum to over 300 species in the past 1,000 years, he explained. Every species has faced the same choice, surrender or die. Most choose surrender. Those who choose to fight are destroyed quickly. Then why are you here? Helen asked. Because humans are different, Yixtal replied. My people have been fighting the Federation for 50 years. We have been looking for allies, for species that might have the strength to resist. When we intercepted their ultimatum to Earth, we decided to take a risk. General Rodriguez leaned forward. What kind of risk? The risk of hoping that humans might be the first species to find a third option, the alien commander said. Your response to their ultimatum has been unlike anything in Federation history. Instead of panic or immediate submission, you have begun preparing for war while also trying to understand your enemy. This is not how conquered species usually behave. Dr. Wang, who had been quiet during most of the meeting, finally spoke. What can you tell us about their weaknesses? Yixtal's eyes brightened. The Federation has ruled through fear and overwhelming force for so long that they have forgotten how to adapt. They expect certain responses to their actions. When they do not get those responses, they become confused and make mistakes. What kind of mistakes? Jake asked. They will underestimate you until it is too late, the alien replied. They will assume that your technology is primitive, that your military tactics are simple, and that your unity is temporary. They have never faced a species that thinks outside their patterns. As the second day ended, reports were coming in from around the world. Scientists who had never worked together were sharing research. Military forces from different countries were coordinating defense plans. Ordinary people were organizing in ways that surprised their own governments. In New York, street artists were painting murals showing humans standing up to alien invaders. In Tokyo, school children were designing spacecraft using art supplies and imagination. In London, retired engineers were coming out of retirement to work on defense projects. The Federation ships continued to hover over the cities, waiting for humanity's surrender. But on Earth below, something was happening that the aliens could not understand. Humanity was not preparing to surrender or die. They were preparing to fight back in ways that the galaxy had never seen before. The third option that Commander Yixtal had hoped for was beginning to take shape. The third day brought revelations that changed everything the Federation thought they knew about humanity. As the deadline approached, the true scope of Earth's preparations became clear. What the aliens had seen as chaos and division was actually humanity's greatest weapon, the ability of billions of people to work toward one goal while keeping their independence and creativity. Commander Lisa Park floated in her stealth reconnaissance ship far beyond the moon, watching the Federation fleet through sensors that the aliens could not detect. Her mission was supposed to be impossible. Get close enough to the enemy ships to gather detailed intelligence without being caught. Control, this is Shadow 1, she whispered into her radio. I am 2 kilometers from the lead Federation vessel. They have not detected me yet. Back on Earth, Admiral Morrison listened to her report with amazement. How is that possible, Lisa? Their sensors should be far more advanced than our stealth technology. That is what makes this so interesting, sir, Lisa replied. Their sensors are designed to detect known threats. They are looking for energy signatures and materials that fit their understanding of spaceship technology. Our ship uses human engineering principles that do not match their database. What Lisa had discovered was something the Federation had never encountered before. Human technology was not just different from alien technology, it was unpredictable. Where the Federation used perfect mathematical formulas to build their ships, humans used trial and error, creativity, and solutions that worked even when they should not have worked according to standard physics. In the underground facilities beneath Cheyenne Mountain, engineer Sam Chen was putting the final touches on Project Prometheus. The name was chosen carefully. Like the ancient Greek hero who stole fire from the gods, humanity was about to use stolen knowledge in ways the gods never intended. Every science fiction writer who ever imagined how to fight aliens, Sam explained to his team as they worked around the clock. Every military strategist who planned for the impossible. Every conspiracy theorist who thought the government was hiding alien technology. They were all preparing us for this moment. The project was not a single weapon or defense system. It was a network of hundreds of different technologies that had been developed over decades, all connected by communication systems that could adapt and change faster than any centralized command structure. Dr. Patricia Lee, the project's chief scientist, pulled up holographic displays showing the global network. The Federation expects us to have a command center that they can target and destroy. Instead, we have thousands of small centers that can work independently or together. If they destroy half of our systems, the other half will adapt and continue fighting. Meanwhile, Captain Nina Rodriguez was implementing something that would become known as the human doctrine. Instead of meeting the aliens in direct battle, humanity would do what it did best: survive, adapt, and find solutions that nobody else had thought of. The Federation has been conquering species for thousands of years, she explained to her squadron of pilots. They have seen every type of resistance, every military strategy, every desperate last stand. What they have never seen is a species that refuses to play by the rules of war. Her ships were not designed to destroy the alien vessels. They were designed to confuse them, to make them question everything they thought they knew about human capabilities. Each ship carried technology that appeared primitive on the surface but used principles that Federation science considered impossible. As the hours passed, reports came in from around the world that painted a picture the aliens could not understand. In Moscow, nuclear physicist Dr. Boris Volkov had discovered how to use Federation shield frequencies against themselves. In Mumbai, software engineer Priya Sharma had created computer viruses that could adapt faster than alien security systems could stop them. In Johannesburg, mining engineer John Williams had figured out how to turn asteroid mining equipment into weapons that could punch through alien armor. But the most important discovery came from an unexpected source. In a small laboratory in Edinburgh, graduate student Emma Thompson was studying the alien communication that had delivered the ultimatum. What she found changed everything. The translation was not perfect, she reported to the Global Research Network. When Zethkar said we were a threat to galactic peace, the original alien language was more specific. He said we were a threat to galactic order. Dr. Wang, coordinating the research from Washington, immediately understood the significance. They are not afraid we will start a war. They are afraid we will change the way wars are fought. This revelation spread through the human command structure like wildfire. The Federation was not trying to prevent human violence. They were trying to prevent human innovation from spreading to other species in the galaxy. They had built an empire based on predictable patterns of conquest and control, and humanity represented something that could destroy those patterns forever. President Carter called an emergency meeting with world leaders as the final hours approached. "We now know why they really want to stop us," she announced to the assembled presidents and prime ministers. "We are not just fighting for Earth's freedom. We are fighting for the freedom of every species in the galaxy." The revelation changed the nature of humanity's response. This was not just about survival anymore. It was about showing other species that there was an alternative to Federation rule. Every human action would be watched by conquered worlds across the galaxy, waiting to see if resistance was possible. In the Nevada desert, Commander Yixtal was meeting with human military leaders one final time before the deadline. "My people will be watching what happens here," he said. "If humanity can survive the first Federation attack, other species will begin to believe that freedom is possible." "What happens if we fail?" General Rodriguez asked. Then the galaxy will remain as it has been for 3,000 years, the alien commander replied. But if you succeed, everything changes. The Federation has never faced a species that could inspire others to rebel. They have never dealt with the spread of ideas that threaten their control. As the sun set on the third day, humanity was ready. Not ready in the way the Federation expected, with massive fleets and powerful weapons aimed at their ships. Humanity was ready with something far more dangerous: the complete refusal to accept that there were only two choices in any situation. The Federation had offered surrender or death. Humanity had spent 72 hours creating a third option that the galaxy had never seen before. The next morning would prove whether human creativity was stronger than alien technology, whether innovation could defeat conquest, and whether freedom was truly worth fighting for. The countdown to humanity's answer had begun. The 72nd hour arrived with an eerie silence that stretched across Earth. In space stations and command centers around the world, humans held their breath as Federation vessels moved into attack positions. The alien ships began to glow with energy that painted the dawn sky in colors that had no names in any human language. On the Federation flagship, Prime Counselor Zethkar stood before a massive tactical display showing all 47 vessels in perfect formation around Earth. His crystalline features reflected the light from weapon systems that had conquered hundreds of worlds across the galaxy. Begin standard pacification protocol, he commanded his officers. Target their military installations first. Once their ability to coordinate resistance is eliminated, they will have no choice but to submit to Federation authority. The first Federation attack came at exactly dawn in each time zone. As the alien ships synchronized their assault, beams of coherent energy lanced down from orbit, targeting what appeared to be Earth's most important military bases, satellite networks, and command centers. The weapons were designed to cripple human coordination without causing unnecessary destruction to infrastructure the Federation would later use. Instead of hitting vital targets, the alien weapons struck carefully prepared decoys and abandoned facilities. Every major military installation the Federation attacked was empty, filled with holographic projectors and electronic signals designed to look like important targets from space. Sir, all Federation vessels are committed to the attack pattern, reported Tactical Officer Ryan Barnes from the hidden command center 3 miles beneath the Colorado mountains. Operation Mockingbird is active. They are hitting exactly what we wanted them to hit. The past 3 days had seen the largest civilian evacuation in human history, but it was an evacuation the aliens never detected. Using subway tunnels, underground shopping centers, natural caves, and hastily dug shelters, entire populations had moved to safety while maintaining the appearance of normal city life above ground. What the Federation saw as a successful first strike was actually humanity's opening move in a type of warfare the galaxy had never witnessed. Every destroyed facility immediately came back online from backup locations, while the real military assets remained completely hidden from alien sensors. Captain Turner's fleet emerged from behind the moon as the Federation attack reached its peak. His ships no longer looked like the small patrol vessels the aliens expected. Each spacecraft had been modified with reverse-engineered alien technology, but not in ways that Federation science could predict. All ships, this is defiance, Turner broadcast on frequencies the aliens could intercept. Remember, we are not trying to win a conventional space battle. We are showing them that humans do not follow conventional rules. The Federation's first shock came when their energy weapons encountered defensive barriers that seemed to violate the laws of physics. Dr. Santos had discovered something remarkable about alien technology. It was too perfect, too standardized, too predictable. Federation weapons are designed to penetrate any known defensive system in the galaxy, she had explained during the final briefing. But they work by following mathematical formulas that assume all defensive systems follow the same mathematical formulas. Human defensive systems do not follow those formulas because we built them using trial and error instead of perfect theory. The result was shields that changed their properties randomly, armor that got stronger when it was damaged, and defensive systems that worked according to principles that Federation computers could not calculate or predict. Lieutenant Casey Morgan, commanding the USS Resilience, watched her tactical displays with amazement as Federation weapons struck her ship. Their energy beams are powerful enough to destroy a moon, But they keep missing because our ship does not move the way their targeting computers expect. The human ships moved like living creatures instead of mechanical objects. They accelerated in directions that should have been impossible, changed course without apparent reason, and seemed to anticipate Federation attacks before they happened. Their tactical programming assumes that all spacefaring species will use efficient flight patterns, explained pilot Brian Davis as he guided his fighter through a formation of Federation vessels. But humans learn to fly by watching birds and insects, not by following mathematical equations. The space battle that followed was unlike anything in Federation military history. Human ships scattered in all directions, regrouped in impossible formations, and attacked from angles that violated every principle of space combat theory. They used debris from destroyed decoy satellites as weapons, flew through asteroid fields that should have crushed them, and employed tactics that seemed to be invented in real time. On Earth, the hidden weapon systems came online one by one. Instead of massive guns or missile launchers, humanity deployed thousands of small devices that worked together in ways the Federation could not understand. Particle accelerators disguised as subway trains, laser arrays hidden in office buildings, and electromagnetic pulse generators built into cell phone towers. Their shields are fluctuating, reported Lieutenant Morgan as she watched Federation vessel defensive systems struggle to adapt. It is like they have never encountered weapons that change their frequency patterns every few seconds. But the most devastating human weapon was not technological at all. It was information. Every Federation communication was being intercepted, decoded, and retransmitted across the galaxy with additional data that no conquered species had ever possessed. Proof that the Federation could be fought. Dr. Kumar Singh, monitoring galactic communications from a facility in Antarctica, reported what he was hearing. Species across the galaxy are receiving our transmissions. The Zephyrians have begun modifying their defensive systems. The Melic colonies are organizing resistance networks. The Federation is losing control of information flow for the first time in their history. As the battle continued through the day, it became clear that something unprecedented was happening. The Federation was not winning quickly and decisively as they always had before. Human resistance was not collapsing under overwhelming force as every other species had done. This is not how wars are supposed to proceed, Zethkar transmitted to his fleet commanders. Their tactics make no logical sense. They could have caused far more damage to our vessels, yet they chose restraint. They could have targeted our weapon systems, yet they seem more interested in disrupting our communications. The Federation had never encountered an enemy that fought to send a message rather than to achieve total victory. Every human action was designed to prove that resistance was possible, that Federation dominance was not absolute, and that there were alternatives to surrender or death. As the sun set on Earth, the impossible had happened. Humanity had survived the first day of battle against the most powerful empire in galactic history. More importantly, they had done it in a way that changed what every species in the galaxy believed was possible. The battle for Earth was far from over, but the battle for the future of galactic civilization had already begun. The battle for Earth lasted 18 hours and ended with something the Galactic Federation had never experienced in 3,000 years of conquest: a request for negotiations. As Federation vessels retreated to the edge of the solar system, Prime Counselor Zethkar found himself in the unprecedented position of asking for a ceasefire from a species he had planned to enslave. "This is highly irregular," Zethkar transmitted to Earth, his crystalline voice carrying something humans recognized as confusion and frustration. "Your combat methods are inefficient and illogical. You could have destroyed several of our vessels, yet you chose not to. You could have pressed your advantage when our shields failed, yet you offered to stop fighting. This is not the behavior we expected from a primitive warlike species." President Carter's response was broadcast simultaneously to every Federation ship and to every inhabited world within 100 light-years of Earth. "Counselor Zethkar, that is exactly the point we have been trying to make. You judged our entire species based on your limited understanding of human nature. You saw our conflicts and wars, but you never bothered to learn why we fight or what we fight for." The negotiations that followed took place on neutral ground at the L4 Lagrange point, where human and Federation engineering teams worked together to build a space station in just 48 hours. The construction itself was a demonstration of human capabilities that shocked the aliens. as the station incorporated design principles that Federation architects had never considered. Admiral Morrison led the human delegation, accompanied by Dr. Wang, General Rodriguez, and Commander Yixtal of the Korthax Republic. The inclusion of a Federation enemy in the human negotiating team sent a clear message about Earth's intentions. "We are not here to join your Federation," Morrison announced during the first session. "We are also not here to declare war on your empire. We are here to propose something that apparently no species has ever offered you before. A third option." Zethkar's crystalline features reflected confusion as he processed this statement. There are only two possible outcomes when the Federation encounters a new species. They submit to our authority and join our empire, or they resist and are eliminated. These are the only choices that maintain galactic stability. "According to whose definition of stability?" Dr. Wang asked. "Your empire has maintained peace through fear and overwhelming force. But that is not the only way civilizations can coexist." Lieutenant Colonel Ben Taylor, Earth's military attaché, laid out humanity's proposal using holographic displays that showed trade routes, communication networks, and defensive alliances that had never existed in Federation space. "We propose something revolutionary," he explained. "Independent coexistence. You leave us alone to develop as we choose, and we will share our defensive innovations with other species who want to maintain their independence. No conquest, no empire building, just mutual respect between different civilizations." The implications were staggering to the Federation leadership. For the first time in galactic history, a species was not only resisting conquest but offering to help others do the same. The carefully maintained balance of power that had kept the galaxy under Federation control was being challenged in ways they had never imagined. "Your proposal would destabilize the entire galactic order," Zethkar protested. "If species are allowed to maintain independence, there will be chaos, conflict, and suffering." "There is already suffering," Yixtal interjected. Speaking for the first time during the negotiations, the suffering of civilizations that have lost their cultures, their freedoms, and their right to choose their own destiny. The Federation has brought stability through oppression, but that is not the only path to peace. Over the following weeks, something remarkable happened across the galaxy. The human doctrine began spreading to worlds that had been under Federation control for generations. Species that had forgotten their own cultures started remembering what they had lost. The Zephyrians began modifying their ships with unpredictable defensive systems based on human designs. The Melloc colonies organized decentralized resistance networks that the Federation could not locate or destroy. Captain Turner, now promoted to Admiral, commanded Earth's first diplomatic fleet. These ships were not designed for war but for the more complex mission of helping other worlds find their own path to independence. "The Federation called us primitive and violent," he reflected to his crew as they approached the Centauri system, where 3 species had requested human assistance in negotiating their freedom. They were right about one thing. We have not learned to accept defeat gracefully. We have not learned that some battles cannot be won. We have never learned to give up on the idea that freedom is worth fighting for. The negotiations with Earth had forced the Federation to confront a truth they had avoided for millennia. Their empire was built on the assumption that superior technology always defeated inferior technology, that organized military force always conquered disorganized resistance, and that fear was stronger than hope. Humanity had proven all of those assumptions wrong. They had shown that creativity could overcome technology, that decentralized resistance could defeat organized force, and that hope was indeed stronger than fear when it was backed by determination and ingenuity. 6 months after the first alien ships appeared over Earth, the galaxy was changing in ways that no one could have predicted. The Federation still existed, but it was no longer the unchallenged power it had been for 3,000 years. More than 50 species had declared independence and successfully defended it using modified human defensive techniques. Dr. Santos, now serving as Earth's chief technology liaison, was helping the newly independent Rigel Commonwealth adapt human engineering principles to their own technology. "The key is not to copy our designs exactly," she explained to their engineers. "The key is to understand that there are always more than 2 solutions to any problem." Back on Earth, children who had lived through the invasion were already asking when they could join the diplomatic corps. They had seen their species face extinction and respond with laughter, creativity, and an unshakable belief that any challenge could be overcome if approached from the right angle. The Federation's demand for surrender had been answered with something they never expected, an offer of friendship combined with absolute refusal to be controlled. Humanity had looked at an impossible situation and found a third option that no one else had imagined. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity would not have it any other way. They had proven that freedom was not just worth fighting for, but worth sharing with anyone brave enough to reach for it. The age of Federation dominance was ending, and the age of galactic cooperation was just beginning.